Forever. He knows a lot of history about the place. And for a small shot of whiskey, he'll probably tell you a lot more than he's going to tell you tonight. Mr. Tommy Bill Nelson.
I don't know where he gets off with that small shot of whiskey, but I guess, is this thing working?
He wants a bottle.
Well, I thank you people for inviting me up here. The Historical Society has really done a wonderful job. You just need to look around and see how things have happened and what you people have done, the hard work you put in, and the things you've done. And I really think that that's really nice, and you put on a good show tonight. A lot of good groceries. I see even you filled old Ron Lips got full. He was full when he come here, but he's got fuller when he left. But he anyway, my dad was Marjorie. Where the hell did you come from? One of my daughters slipped up on my blonde side. Anyway, my dad was born here at the old SA office in 1900. And my mother was born over at the Orbell in 1906. So my family's been here for off and on for a long time. I think I probably got run out of here when I was a little bit younger for things I should have done or didn't do. I don't know all about that. But anyway, if you got any questions, just stop me in the middle of this thing. I wrote down a few things that if I could just read, and I think it takes them glasses nowadays to do that. Anyway, I asked Margaret what did she want me to talk about. She said, well, you might start out talking about Tom Anderson. And I'm not, no disregards to you, but I'm looking over there at Lips, and if he had a beard, and it was this long like that in them bib overalls, if he don't look like the second coming of Tom Anderson, I never saw it. But anyway, no disrespect. He's a mean old man. I hope you're still holding up all right along with that. Tom Anderson had the saloon over there, and he was kind of a fixture here for years. And Tom was, I thought was a mean old son of a bitch, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was just me. But anyway, Tom, there's a lot of things you can say, and some I probably shouldn't say about Tom, but one of the things that I remember pretty vividly is that Tom had an old dog named Bruto, and I had a little old dog, a collie dog, and mixed up with something else. And Tom loved to see that old Bruto was half bulldog, and he loved to see that old dog beat up on my old Jerry dog. So this went on for quite a while, and we'd come over to the mail at 1 o'clock, and get mail, and he'd sick. I could hear him say, sick him, Bruto, sick him. And the old Bruto come out there and get my old dog by the collar and wrestle him around. So I thought, this isn't getting it. I'm going to have to do something. So used to be two big old oil tanks over here on the corner, and you come around by Tewksbury's and come up through the creek and come through there. And so old Jerry and I thought we'd just take a little round and get there, and here come old Bruto. And so I had me a good piece of elk, of elmwood or oak or something. And so I beat the line back stuffing out old Bruto, and he went on back up the house. And next day I come back around again, and I could hear old Tom saying, sick him. And here come old Bruto, and he come down there, and I beat hell out of him with that board again and beat the heck out of him. And he went home going like that. So I come back one more time. I come all the way, long way around, and I could hear him saying, sick him, and old Bruto would go like that, and he wouldn't take a damn move. So then I thought, well, I'm big time now. I come right in front of his house, right in front of the saloon, and I come through there. I could hear him say, sick him, and old Bruto would go, but he never would do a damn thing after that. I think I pretty well got that old dog trained on the time that was over. I'll tell you, Tom had two daughters, Nita and Betty, and Tom died in 1955, and he was a real big part of that. My grandfather and my grandmother helped him move the saloon that's over there now from the Orbell, and he moved it with jackasses and mules, and a piece at a time, and carried it over here and built that saloon back and put it back together. And I don't know. I don't think he did a good job because I've danced in there a couple of times. Some people don't call it dancing, but I was in there and that old boards get to swaying down at the bottom a little bit in some of them places. He should have propped that up a little bit better for us old folks. But anyway, that's part of that. Tom, I don't know what else to talk about Tom except he grew a garden all the time, and my sister and I didn't care for him a hell of a lot, so he grown some onions, and we climbed the fence, pulled up his onions, and sat there and ate them all, and got the belly ache, and so I think old Tom got the best of us on that one. So don't be up there taking no damn pictures, boy. It's against the law. And at that time, if you can think about it, a beer was 25 cents, and a quart of whiskey was $5. And I got some old uncles. There's a daughter of one of them sitting down there right now, Ivy, and her old dad and them, they'd come over here. And that time, Uncle Lawton had all the rangeland from right above Lake Pleasant clear to Beryl Springs. My Uncle Fred Cordes had everything on the backside going down to Bumblebee. And so one time, Lawton, Charlie, and George, all my old uncles, and a couple of other hands, they showed up here. And they went over to Tom's, got their nose full a little bit. They just laid their blankets out there, right there by the barn. And so next morning, sometime during the night, it snowed. And I getting ready to go milk the cows in the morning. And my dad said, "Charlie Bill, come here, I want to talk to you." I thought, well, I'd done something wrong. And I looked out there, and there's Lawton and Charlie and George and all of them laying out, steam coming out of them like that. And he said, "I just want to tell you something before you go out there." He said, "Those are your mother's relatives, not mine." So, I thought I was in trouble, but that's the way it was, I guess. So, I don't know about that. So, another thing used to happen up here pretty regular was dances at the schoolhouse. And so, at the schoolhouse, and I don't know how the word got around. Word got around that there'd be a dance at the schoolhouse. And so all the ladies in town would bring box lunches, and they'd auction those off at midnight. And there was I had a big old lard can out there in the back, a 5-gallon thing, and they'd build a fire under it and take an old sugar sack with coffee and hang it over the side. And then they'd break at midnight and go out there and they'd buy lunches if you had enough money to buy some. And the pretty girls' lunches all went pretty quick, as I can remember, things like that. But I don't know whether they cooked better or not, or whether it just was the way things looked, that you can't tell about all those things. But anyway, then Ibby's got an uncle, and I'm afraid he's mine too. His name was George. And old George is pretty handy. He never did have much money to buy a whiskey, but you could tell one thing, he always had a full bottle when he left. He'd go around to everybody's truck, pour a little bit out of this and pour a little out of that. And he never took it all. He'd just get a little extra out each one of them so he'd have a full jug. But old George he was all right. And I can tell you a couple of things about that. When we buried Uncle Lawton, Ibby's dad, we put a quart of Seagram's in there with him just in case he might need it. But then got a little worried because when we buried George next to him, we didn't know what the hell might happen. And we put and they called him them days, I don't want to get anybody mad at me, and Obama especially, but they called them nigger shooters, and we put that thing in there with him and said, "I hope not to be disrespectful to you Democrats." And I just did that. But anyway, and my old cousin, Tony, and he can remember this pretty good, when Lawton get to going, they'd have some of them damn square dances and some of that stuff, and get to going, and Lawton sometime along after George hadn't got all his whiskey, he'd call it Paul Jones. Now, I don't know how many people ever heard of a Paul Jones, but Lawton knew what it was. And he'd say, "Single file, Indian style," everybody out through the front of the damn schoolhouse and back around like that. Everybody jumping and hollering and raising their hand and going like hell. So them was good old days and good dances. Made us kids stay on the side, but till intermission, then we got a chance to get out there and know music. But that's the way it went, I guess. Well, I'll tell you about school. I started school up here in the first grade, and they had a teacher named Mr. Kitchen. Now, Mr. Kitchen, no disrespect to any people come from New York. I hope you've changed your ways. But anyway, Mr. Kitchen, he had them New York ideas still in his mind, and he got paid to do the school teaching plus the janitorial work. So if you were bad, if you did something wrong, well, he kept you after school, and you did the janitorial work, and he got paid for it. I never did think that was a hell of a good idea. But there was an old kid come along, about 15 years old, and probably was in the 5th grade, and his dad been all over the country mining, and he did something Kitchen didn't like. So next day, after he had to stay after school and work, he come to school, and Mr. Kitchen went to the outhouse about noon, and when he started out there, that old kid had a .22 rifle. He just sat there with that .22 rifle, and he just shoot all around that outhouse. And old man Kitchen, not old man, he's a young guy, he just stayed in that outhouse the whole damn rest of the afternoon. We just sat around, did what the hell we wanted to. I thought that was a good thing. But I had some ornery cousins, because he, in them days, for all this new modern generation where you can't spank your kid, they had that big old paddle as the old little teachers had, and I'll guarantee you he could swat that thing pretty damn handy. So my cousin, God rest his soul, David, he said, I'll tell you what, Charlie, if you'll take old man Kitchen's paddle and throw it in the outhouse, he said, we'll give you a nickel. Well, I said, hell, a nickel's a pretty damn handy thing to have. And so I got that damn thing, and I went down there and throwed it in. Well, what happened about 2 days before he found his paddle, and somebody squealed on me, and I had to go dig the damn thing back out. And so it wasn't really a smart deal, but at the time it seemed like it'd be all right. So that was old Kitchen, and he was I don't know, just one of them kind of people. And then he left, and a nice lady came along named Mrs. Keller, and then she taught school there for the next till I left. She was pretty nice. If you did good, she'd put one of them gold stars on your paper, or maybe I got a lot of them red ones. I think that was way off down in the line. There were probably some other colors in between. I never did get a lot of them nice looking stars in my time. But so I don't know. Anyway, and I'm a raising a lot of talking. I'll tell you a little story that you probably get me out of here. One time, Dad won the lottery and down there at the fair, and we got a big old bull, a prize Hereford bull, nice looking bull. And we had him up here, and one morning he disappeared. Went up there towards Van Tilburg's, Dad looking for that old bull, and he found where an old lion had killed a damn bull, and so he come back, and the old lion had covered up with a little brush like that, and he come back and got the gun, and went up there, and he said, I know that lion will come back to that thing. Well, he sat up there for a long time, and pretty soon that old lion, he could hear him purring. He purring along like an old cat does. Pretty soon the old lion stepped up and Dad shot him. And you know what the moral of that story is, don't you? When you're full of bull, keep your mouth shut. And maybe that's where I about reached. But I'll go a little farther if I can remember what the hell I'm supposed to be doing up here. Don't be taking a picture, lady. That ought to be against the law. Okay. Kitchen. Martha Jane, my cousin, was a month younger than I was. Tony and David, Martha and I, pretty well entrepreneurs in them days. And they had, the old store had a deal over here that with S&F and Table Queen wrappers and 50 cents, you could get a set of dishes. So Martha and I hit all the dumps all over. And we sold all them labels. We got all them cans and we stripped them labels off of them. And so we sell them to a penny a piece. And I think whoever put that deal on from SF and Table Queen said, that's got to be the eatingest damn bunch of people up there. I never saw that many wrappers in my life. But we hit every dump there was. And them days, you got through a thing, you just throwed it over towards the creek and let it wash on down. That's the way that was. And same thing with those bottles from Tom Anderson's bar. He threw them over the edge. And so, being a kind of a little bit entrepreneur, or whatever that word is, that big word that they talk about, them people that know something. Well, we go over there and the condensation get in them bottles, and we pour them, make a hell of a Collins out of that. You get a little gin in one, and a little whiskey in one. Hell, I don't think Scotch was invented then. At least Tom didn't have any, so he didn't have to worry about that. So it's just one of them damn things that happened up in this country. And if you don't quit taking them damn pictures, ladies, I'm going to quit this place. You scare me, and I ain't scared of nothing. I'll tell you another thing then. So, one time, you know the old mill site is right across from the assay house where the buildings are? There was no mill right there. David and I found a 5-gallon cask of mercury. Now, how dumb we were, I don't know, and we didn't know about these environmentalists in them days, I guess. And we tipped that thing over, and we got all that and shined up everything we could find to shine. And I guess it went on down the creek, and I don't know who the hell's going to get that back out. And then we'd take all the tires we could find in town, and we roll them down at the gap, kick them off and let them bounce and go off like that. And then the war started, and them tires were worse on them. So we're down there dragging them damn tires back up off the hill like that, and every bit of metal you could find all over town. And old dumb me, I didn't realize that cast iron wasn't worth a damn. I had a whole pile of that and tried to sell it to that old boy, and he wouldn't take it. But there was a guy named Brownie Worthington that ran the. You're still there. He ran the stage coming up here, and so I had that old dog Jerry that I had, and he'd find a chipmunk, and old Jerry'd go to barking and raising hell, and I'd grab a gunny sack and a stick, and I'd take off. I'd get that stick and job that thing through, and that old chipmunk, he'd come rolling into that sack. I get them. Brownie give me 25 cents a piece for them, and I think it's before whatever they got now, and them gerbils or whoever the hell they are that gets in them cages and runs around. But I was doing pretty damn good, and I thought, well, I'll just catch a bunch of those and I'll raise them. So I had about 10 or 15 of them out there in the cage. And there one morning they was all dead, and that's the end of my entrepreneur. And I went out of business and quit. You ain't quit. No. Who hired this lady? Who did it? I don't. Could you read what I have on here to tell me what to do? Ice cream. Do you realize that there used to be an ice cream parlor in Crown King? Right there where the old fire station is now in the church. And this old boy come in here and he thought he was going to do some big business in Crown King, and I don't know why. But so he gave every kid in Crown King got a free ice cream cone. And I think that's the last ice cream cone anybody had afford enough to buy. I think that was it. He just kind of went out of business and left, and it was all over. So things didn't go that good. Mom sold milk to the school, so we had 2 old cows, and then she bottled the milk. And then Morton Moore ran the Gladiator. He lived up there in one of them gooder houses, and so I carried that milk, a gallon of milk, 3 times a week over there for 25 cents a week. And I tell you what, things have changed a lot. You know that in them days, the mountains were higher and they're steeper. And the creeks were wider. They had more water in them. And you know, in them days when old Dad worked the mine, they worked, they worked a 14-hour day and probably 15 days a week. And you know, things have changed. You know, things were pretty damn tough back in them days. Yes, and I can remember poor old Dad made him a pair. It snowed. In 1 year, it snowed 7 foot on the level, and that's when the depot fell in. Depot was right across over there, and it just so much snow it all caved in. And Dad was working over there at the Savoy, and so he had to made him a pair of skis, and he'd ski over there and ski back. I don't know, leave dark and get back at dark. One time we looked out there, and it was after dark. He'd stopped over and got a sack of feed, and he'd made them skis, and he put gunny sacks around them and had him feet wired in them. A 100-pound sack of feed fell down behind him, and he was down there and couldn't get out of them skis. Mom said, I think we're going to have to go help him. He said, he's stuck in them skis and he can't get out. So I don't know. And maybe that's why it happened to me. I don't know. She left. Well, now, I'll tell you what. I might tell you another story then. Let's see if I got this thing down here somewhere. I wonder where all that good furniture went I was going to talk about. Oh, boy.
How about the music, Pop?
Music. What?
What kind of music?
I don't think. I'll tell you what. I know you can't drink on the premises, but I'll buy a drink for anybody that comes up with the oldest song in the old country song. You can tell me what it'd be. Not you, Charlene. You're. What do you think? Some of you old cowboys, what's the oldest song? Singer, you came from way up there with them Swedes, but they didn't have them cowboy songs there, did they? What do you think? Don't think. Who? Somebody.
Freddie knows.
Oldest song. Margie, you don't know. What is it?
No, I said Freddie knows.
Freddie don't get no chance. He knows too much. Nobody for a drink of whiskey? All Mormons in the house? What?
Do I get a chance?
Who?
Do I get a chance? No, I know too much.
Whose kind of shoes?
How about the Tennessee Waltz?
That's a pretty good old one. That's pretty good. How about Jack of Diamonds? Who knows Jack of Diamonds? You know anybody here know about Jack of Diamonds? You know, he was a hell of an old ham. That old Jack of Diamonds. You know, he used to say, what the hell did he say? He'd start out saying, Jack of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds, I cry. If I don't get Jack of Diamonds, I surely will die. He says, it's a beefsteak when you're hungry, rye whiskey when you're dry. If a tree don't fall on me, I'll live till I die. If the ocean was whiskey and I was a duck, I'd dive to the bottom and drink my way up. So I knew him pretty good. I'll tell you another one that you probably, I don't know where that what damn other list went. You know, some guys can't read and some guys can't remember. How about Red River Valley? Pretty old. Come on, Johnny, you know one. What is it? Who? Cheating Heart. Hell, that was in the World War II when they got to cheating their hearts. That's all overseas. But that's the start. That's a good one. Strawberry Roan. Hello! Out of the way, Tony. How about the first song that I ever heard on a recording was down Tip Top. On the back of it was Little Joe the Wrangler was on one side, and what the heck was that other guy's name? John Henry. John Henry is on the other. Those are probably two of the oldest songs I know right off, and then Frankie and Johnny. A lot of you people probably don't know those. You're probably better off. And Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree. That's a good one. How about, what do you think that the Arizona state song is? Nobody? Everybody from California or New York City, or where the hell you all come from? Huh? Chuck, how about you? What was the question? Well, I'm amazed. You know, I seen a guy today, and a lady also, dragging a dog. You know, I don't know. It's somewhere I did that. I had something about them damn dogs because, you know, I know one thing. Nobody ever drowned in their own sweat. Do you believe that? That's a true story. And no tree is too big for a short dog. That is true. No tree is too short for a small dog. Let's see, what else? I know one, and I see this a lot of times with the women folks. It's best to keep your troubles to yourself, because half the people you tell won't give a damn, and the others are glad you got them. So you keep that in mind, that part of it. Okay. What are you doing over there, young lady? Oh, I was going to tell you about that dog, wasn't I, that you was dragging today. Well,
I want you to tell them the story about
I don't know it.
girls in the cemetery.
About who?
I know that.
About what?
Two little girls in the cemetery, how they really died.
Perkins girls.
Well, the Perkins girls. Contrary to public belief, which I believed all my life, that both of them died of mercury poisoning from shining their spoon. But one of them died of mercury, but the other died of pneumonia.
Consumption. That's how your mom said it in the letter. It's called consumption.
Well, consumption in them days, you know, they couldn't spell pneumonia. I'll tell you what. Never tell a man to go to hell, but if you do, trying to make him do it is probably another damn thing. That probably ain't all go along with that. So, I don't know. I wish I had something written down there that I could say and I could remember, but I think it's dark. I know something here that you ought to know. You don't need to decorate your words, you know, like some people do. To make the meaning, just say it plain, and you'll save a lot of breath. So you keep that in mind, folks, and that's probably what they're asking me to do right now, and I probably hadn't. Is there any questions out there about anything in Crown King way back from the good old days? How about in the bad old days?
Well, we want to know what the song for Arizona is. I love
Oh, well, he run off. What is it? Nobody knows?
I love you, Arizona.
No, that's a new one. Ragtime Cowboy Joe. Right, Tony? Ragtime. It goes pretty good for somebody who could sing, but it has a hell of a time with a guy like me. It not gonna work near that damn good. But I did as close to the Jack and Daniels for you, and I don't know about diamonds. I don't know what I could do anymore. Let's see. Martha, Mercury, ice cream. Oh, and I don't know if Tony remembers this part, but the guys worked at the Gladiator, and there's a guy named Hugh Alger. You remember Hugh? And every Friday night they'd come down, and there'd be a softball game right here in front of the store. Now, some of them boys could put that ball clear across over there in that country, but all us kids just sit there in amazement to see how far somebody get. But every Friday night there was a ball game right out in front. Now that I've kind of got on your case a little, Dips, you got something you want to ask me about what the hell happened?
Yeah, I want to know what happened to Uncle Lawton's horse whiskey.
What happened to his horse? Huh?
Uncle Lawton's horse whiskey.
What happened to him?
How he became whiskey.
You want to know about it. You want to know about whiskey.
Uncle Lawton hit a jug and he went over and drank it all. No, I ain't tell you that. I don't know about that. That was old Moonshine's demise and whiskey too. No question from anybody on nothing. Oh Lord, I knew I'd run out here in a hurry because I didn't eat. Let's see. Nothing. You glad to get rid of me? Let's get the hell. Yeah, Tony. Do what? I told him you come late. Yeah, you know, Tony, the fire station is a wonderful thing, and that tower is a nice place to be. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes you got to show up on time if you want to get on this. And we're doing it late now. And I don't mean to be picking on you because you knew about Paul Jones too, didn't you?
Did you tell him about the mean old guy in Tilburg's house with the dog? Did he try to go to school?
I told him about Bruto over here. But somebody else had a dog?
I thought there was another guy that had a mean old dog too.
He may have, you know, but all I can say is doggone. I don't know the rest of this story. Is that enough yet, hon?
Can you tell us about the Abbey House? What do you know about it?
I don't. My daughter probably, or somebody might know. What do you know about the Abbey House, Charlotte?
What's that?
The Abbey House. Maybe Tony might know. I don't know that much about the Abbey House. Yeah. What they want to know is that the same Abbey that you married.
That's funny.
That's good. Huh?
So Charlie Bill, I'd like to thank you. Been enjoyable. And yes, I do owe you a drink.
You've already done it. How do you get the hell out of here?
All right, over this way.
I think I better go that way.
This way. That's the safer way.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
I wish I'd had more information, but I'm no short. But no whiskey.
How about another hand for Charlie Bill? Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to the sneak preview of our future Crown King Museum. Our goal continues to be to preserve the rich and diverse history of this area, and we'd like to thank many of the volunteers who worked really hard to make this happen. Converting, that was originally the #1 fire station up here. I'd like to thank Butch Credidio. Lots of electrical work. Justin Castellano. Ray Henningsen. Ben Bowles. Rachel Dunn. She did a great job on the sign. Debbie Savatone, who did a lot of painting and cleaning. Jim Zebel. Dan Donahue, Dancing Dan. Jeff Hammond, Sean Rivera, the Forest Service guys. Monty Atha. Rick Rhodes, Brian Schmidt, Fred Jensen, Dawn Cosburn, she did some painting too. Adam Knight, Steve Coleman, Dan Hill, James Griffin, and Matt Campo. They did a great job. I'd also like to say thank you to Bernie Singer, Marty Martin, and Sally for all that wonderful cooking that they've been doing. And thank you to everybody who's been donating items and sharing their treasures with all of us. One more thing from the start, the General Store has been really supportive of our Historic Society. They've donated space. Whenever we need something, they're there to provide it. I'd like to call Ben and Carol up. He's over there having a beer party.
Ben, yeah. I wonder where Ben is. Oh, cool.
The Historical Society would like to present this little plaque that we've put together. It actually has an original receipt from the Crown King Mercantile Company, 1937, and it was for 12 gallons of gas for $2.25.
That's cute.
And that's when the store was owned by C.H. Manley. And thank you again for all your help.
Thank you. That's cool. We'll have to hang it in there. We'll donate it back to you for your wall.
All right. Time for some music, and thank you. And thank you to the band, Freddie and Chuck and everybody who's doing all this wonderful music for us.